Hey everybody, welcome to Malt News for Whiskey Reviews. I'm Eric. On the bar for today, a single malt from the Highland region, the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. It's always here on the channel, No Taste Finish Review of this whiskey coming your way. I'll tell you a bit about the value, share my final thoughts, final score, leave you with the malt musing. But first, take a second, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any of these whiskey reviews here on the Malt Muser channel. So give you notifications for any live streams that I do, which do pop up pretty regularly. All right. So first things first, the Dalmore. They come out of the, again, Highland region of Scotland, and particularly known for their sherried whiskeys and honestly their presentation, to be quite frank. If there was ever anything you would call a designer whiskey from Scotland, it might be that, or this one rather. I mean, you take a look at this bottle here. It's got the big plastic stag on it. The box here actually doubles as a display case, or a display, so you could, right? Okay. Very much presentation forward whiskey. While they have a bunch of different age statement ones, the tail of the tape with this is a non-age statement. This one is bottled at 44% ABV. Here on the box, it does not say anything else about whether it's chill filtered or has color added. Let's take a quick look at the bottle. No, nothing on here. That is the color. Show it to you in the glass in a second. This whiskey, it says here on the box, is matured in American white oak, Methuselah Oloroso casks, which are like really rare Oloroso casks, sherry, Cabernet Sauvignon barriques, so small Cabernet Sauvignon barrels to complement a fine cigar. So what they're trying to go for here is putting some flavors together to match a cigar. Now, I'm not a cigar aficionado, so I won't comment too much, but my first thought is there are a lot of different types of cigars. How do they know which one this one would be ideal for? Maybe it's just supposed to be a good all-arounder. There you go. Anyways, so 44% ABV, chill filtered, looks like yes. Color added, looks like yes. Age statement, none. This is what the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve looks like in the glass. All right. Let's give this a nosing. So what I get right away here is just a burst of red fruit and spice. It is a drier red fruit note, so it's got some sweetness, but it's more also got some kind of your traditional kind of Christmas spices, Christmas baking spices, cinnamon, clove. There's a little bit of citrus in this. Definitely vanilla. Okay. That is about it. It smells a little bit thin. Doesn't seem like it has a ton of depth. Everything seems kind of on the surface. It's kind of jumping out with kind of a youthful freshness. Okay, here we go. Slotch. Just one more taste. Okay. So immediately this arrives with a medium viscosity. As it develops, initially you get sweetness, kind of like butterscotch, toffee, vanilla. Then you get the wave of kind of lighter red fruits, even a little bit of it's like a stewed red fruits, even maybe some tropical. As it develops, though, get into the back end of this palate, you get a nice warming spice, very rounded, a little bit on the flat side, but dark chocolate, maybe a little bit of espresso. As you go into the finish, again, it does kind of peter out a little bit earlier than you'd like. You are left with just some kind of cloying red wine notes, red berry notes, slightly tannic, but not too much. Like a dark blackberry, maybe even like hints of plum. And they're just kind of lingering around. It's not a very bold finish, but it's hanging on okay. It's about a medium long even. So kind of an interesting journey. Okay. Let's put just a few drops of water on this. Again, this is bottled at 44% ABV, which of course, you know, we don't want to drown this too much, but I am going to put about 4 drops on here. All right. So let's see what happens. Okay. I'm getting much more oak barrel char. The sweetness is giving way to darker notes. This smells a little bit like charred bourbon cask, oaky. That cocoa note, that coffee bean espresso note. You do get a little bit of that red wine. But really, I mean, this smells in a lot of ways like a classic Oloroso whiskey with the or bourbon Oloroso matured Scotch. Nice nose. Yeah, as you pull away, you know, sometimes you got to pull it away just to not have it overpower, and you do pick up a little bit of that kind of Cabernet red wine notes. It's just a little bit juicier and a little bit tartar than you would expect from just a sherry cask. Okay, so the nose has opened up a bit, and I gotta say, I quite like it. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so the addition of water here has really lightened this whiskey up from what was a you know, relatively kind of medium viscosity neat. This has now moved into a kind of just a lighter whiskey. As it's developed, more oak, more of this chocolate note, the sherry, the vibrancy of the sherry notes, and the little bit of richness that you were getting have all but mostly disappeared here. They're kind of in the background. This has now gotten a little bit more, oaky. That cocoa note is still there, but really kind of flat. And what I mean by that is, you know, these flavors just kind of pop and disappear. They don't really have any staying power. They're not, they're really being overwhelmed by the oakiness and the, I guess, the bourbon cask of this. There's a little bit of like an, you know, like mandarin orange kind of thing going on. Finish is about medium, dry, pretty uneventful, not all that interesting. There's even little hints of kind of like a bitter sour note, which I am surprised by and quite frankly don't find all that pleasing. Okay. Okay. A little bit better on the second sip of water, but still, I feel like it's just showing a little bit more of its youth here. And quite frankly, it just seems to have lost a little bit of its continuity. Okay. The Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. Is this a rare whiskey? Wouldn't say that. It is definitely an expensive whiskey. Here in the United States, you were going to find this anywhere from like $130 to $160, sometimes more than that. Overseas, you might be able to find it for like 110, 120 USD. It is definitely, again, a designer whiskey. It is a whiskey for display. It thinks pretty highly of itself, considering the way it looks here, and I think that's reflected in the price. Is this worth that money for what you're getting here? I'm going to say, as far as the value goes, this is a low value. And I'll tell you a bit more why right now here in Final Thoughts. So first and foremost here in Final Thoughts, Dalmore is not a distillery that I usually buy from. If you have ever looked at YouTube videos at the start of your whiskey journey, you have seen the videos of Richard Patterson, who used to be their, their main guy. I think he was either their brand ambassador or master distiller or something like that. I'm sure he had a fancy title, teaching you how to drink Scotch whiskey, and throws it on the floor and blah, blah, blah. Real kind of stuffy and bougie. And he does a good job selling Dalmore for sure. But I will tell you right now, this whiskey is a lot more of its appealing with its flashiness than it is with its actual substance. Their 12-year-old in particular is something that I had early in my journey and have not bought again. I recall sulfur notes on that in a way that I have not experienced in many whiskeys. This cigar malt reserve, look, I think at the end of the day, this is a marketing gimmick. Sure, I'm sure that some folks, I'm sure this has a flavor profile that would appeal to some cigar smokers, but there's a lot of whiskeys that do. And I think for most cigar smokers, they don't need a whiskey that's designed for that. They can pair their cigars with other single malts that they have. So, I mean, that's what they're going for here. I think it's a little bit more of a gimmick than it is anything special or unique. Props to the casks that they used in here. I just don't feel like they really show themselves or really reach what they could, considering the way they're presented on this. Again, there's no age statement. We don't know how old this is. And then obviously the fake color. I mean, look at this. There's no way that that's a real color. They have loaded this with color. It has been chill filtered to the fact that it is incredibly, incredibly clear and light, even with that color. I personally would avoid Dalmore strictly because I don't think their prices match the malt that you're getting in almost all cases. There may be some independent bottlings that will be different, but unfortunately for them, even this kind of higher end cigar malt reserve doesn't quite match what I think you could get for the money that they're asking for this. I mean, there are 18-year-old Aaron's, 15 to 18-year-old Glendronics, a lot of very sherried whiskeys out there. Even you can find some red wine cask ones that I think are just far superior to this and would be better investments of your money. So all of that taken into account, I'm really going to put this at a 2.25 out of 5. I like what they tried to do with the different maturation and finishes on this. It just doesn't land. They don't quite land it. And I think there are a lot of things about Dalmore itself and their practices which really are hamstringing this whiskey from being something that could be really great. So 2.25, which is, I definitely recommend you try this before you buy it. If this somehow strikes a chord with you after trying, keep an eye out for a good price and don't overpay for it. But 2.25 out of 5, that is the final score on the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. Let me know in the chat if you had this one before. Do you have any other Dalmores that you enjoy, not enjoy? Would love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'm going to have another dram of this, and got plenty left to drink, I guess. So there you go. Better me than you. With that, I will send you on over to your mom using Cilantro.